Welcome to HD Coins World. If you love discovering rare and valuable coins, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into 6 rare US dimes that have sold for incredible amounts. Some of these coins look ordinary at first glance, but hidden errors, minting mistakes, and pristine conditions have made them worth thousands of dollars. Could one of these dimes be hiding in your collection or even in your pocket right now? Stay with me as we uncover these valuable treasures. You won't want to miss this. Number 1. Have you ever checked your pocket change and wondered if you might be holding a hidden treasure? Well, today, we're diving deep into a coin that many people overlook, the 1967 Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it might seem like just another ordinary 10-cent piece, but some of these dimes have sold for unbelievable amounts at auction. What makes certain 1967 dimes so valuable? How can you tell if you have one? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you might be rushing to check your coin jar. In 1967, the United States Mint was still dealing with the aftermath of the nationwide coin shortage from the early 1960s. To combat hoarding, the government stopped putting mint marks on coins between 1965 and 1967. That means all 1967 dimes look the same, whether they were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But here's where things get interesting, because despite this lack of mint marks, some dimes from this year have incredible value due to rare errors, high-grade condition, and unique varieties. One of the most crucial factors that determine a dime's value is its condition. A standard 1967 dime found in circulation is usually worn and worth only its face value. But if you come across one in near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, or even proof-like quality, you could be holding something worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Coins graded MS-67 or higher, with sharp details, no scratches, and a brilliant shine, can command serious money at auctions. Beyond condition, the real game-changer is errors. Minting mistakes can turn an ordinary dime into an extraordinary one. Some of the rarest and most valuable 1967 dimes include the double die variety, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. These are especially valuable when the doubling is visible on the inscriptions, the date, or Roosevelt's profile. Another rare error is the off-center strike, where the coin was not properly aligned in the press, leaving part of the design missing. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value. Then, there's the transitional planchet error. Some 1967 dimes were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from earlier years, instead of the usual copper-nickel composition. These silver dimes are incredibly rare, and if you find one, you're looking at a significant payday. A simple way to check is by weighing the coin. A standard 1967 dime weighs 2.27 grams, but a silver one will weigh around 2.5 grams. If you suspect you have one, it's worth getting it professionally authenticated. Now, the big question: how much are these rare 1967 dimes worth? While most are common and only worth a few cents, certain rare varieties have sold for jaw-dropping prices. Some have reached $6,480 in auctions, while the rarest, highest-grade specimens with spectacular errors have fetched $68,000 or even more. So, what do you think? Have you ever come across a 1967 dime that looks different from the rest? Do you have any rare coins hiding in your collection? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check your change, because one lucky find could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Number 2. Have you ever heard of a dime so rare that it's worth more than a luxury home, a sports car collection, or even an entire estate? Today, we're diving into one of the most legendary coins in American history, the 1894 Barber dime with the mysterious S on the reverse. This dime isn't just rare, it's a piece of numismatic folklore, a coin that collectors dream of finding but only a handful ever will. If you've ever wondered what makes a single dime worth a fortune, stay with me, because this story is unlike any other. The 1894 Barber dime is one of the most famous coins ever produced by the United States Mint. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, this dime is so elusive that only a small number are known to exist today. But here's where the mystery begins. Records show that just 24 of these dimes were minted. Why such a small number? There are theories, but no one knows the full truth. Some believe it was a test strike, while others say it was created for special purposes, possibly as gifts for influential people. Whatever the reason, most of those original 24 dimes disappeared, and today, only a tiny handful have ever been seen by collectors. If you were to come across one of these dimes, how would you know it's the real deal? The most defining feature is the bold S mint mark on the reverse side, just below the wreath. This S signifies that it was struck at the San Francisco Mint, which is crucial because no other 1894 Barber dimes were produced there. Additionally, the coin features the classic Barber dime design, with Liberty on the obverse, her head adorned with a wreath, and the denomination encircled by a laurel wreath on the reverse. But the real giveaway is the coin's quality. Many of the surviving examples are in extraordinary condition, suggesting they were never meant for circulation. Now, let's talk about value. The 1894 S Barber dime isn't just valuable, it's in a league of its own. Even a well-worn example would be worth an absolute fortune. But when one of these dimes is found in pristine condition, its value reaches astronomical levels. Some of the finest known specimens have sold at major auctions for over $1 million, and in some cases, even more than that. Imagine holding a tiny piece of silver, just a dime, but knowing that it's worth more than an entire mansion. That's the power of rare coins. So, here's the big question. What would you do if you ever found an 1894 S Barber dime? Would you sell it, or would you hold on to it, knowing you owned one of the rarest coins in the world? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check your old coin collections. You never know what hidden treasures might be waiting to be discovered. Number 3. Have you ever thought that a simple dime, just 10 cents, could be worth a fortune? Most people overlook dimes, tossing them in change jars without a second thought. But what if I told you that a rare 1975 Roosevelt dime could be hiding in your pocket right now, worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars? That's right, some of these dimes have sold for staggering amounts at auction, and today, we're going to uncover exactly what makes them so valuable and how you can spot one. The 1975 dime might look ordinary at first glance, but the key to its value lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and special errors. Most dimes from this year were produced in large numbers, struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. However, a few unique varieties and errors have turned some of these coins into collector's treasures. One of the rarest and most sought-after 1975 dimes is the No S proof variety. These dimes were supposed to be struck with an S mint mark, indicating they were made at the San Francisco Mint as part of a special proof set. But a few were mistakenly struck without the S, making them incredibly rare. If you ever come across a 1975 proof dime that's missing the mint mark, you could be looking at a coin worth a fortune. Another key factor that determines the value of a 1975 dime is its condition. Coins that have been well preserved, with sharp details and a flawless surface, are graded as mint state and can fetch high prices. Collectors and investors are always on the lookout for dimes graded MS67 or higher, as these coins are much harder to find in perfect condition. Even a small scratch or dull luster can impact a dime's value significantly, which is why professional grading is essential for high-value coins. Then, there are the mint errors, one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting. Some 1975 dimes were struck off-center, meaning part of the design is missing or misaligned. Others have double strikes, where the coin was struck twice by the press, causing a shadow-like effect on the inscriptions and portrait. These types of errors are rare and can drastically increase a coin's value, especially if they are dramatic and easy to see with the naked eye. So, how much are these rare 1975 dimes actually worth? While an ordinary 1975 dime is only worth its face value, rare varieties and error coins have sold for incredible prices. Some have been auctioned for $6,080, while the rarest examples with perfect condition and major errors have reached $47,000 or even more. Now, here's the big question. Have you ever found a 1975 dime that looks different from the rest? Maybe one with a missing mint mark or a strange striking error? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check your coin jars and old collections. You never know, you might be holding on to a hidden treasure without even realizing it. Number 4. Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if you might be holding a coin worth thousands of dollars? Today, we're diving into a dime that most people overlook, the 1980p Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary 10-cent piece, but hidden among these dimes are rare varieties and errors that have sold for unbelievable amounts at auction. If you've ever been curious about what makes a dime truly valuable, stay with me, because you might just have a small fortune sitting in your pocket right now. The 1980p dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and this was actually a historic year for U.S. coinage. It was the first time the Philadelphia Mint included a P mint mark on the Roosevelt dime, making these coins significant for collectors. However, not all 1980p dimes are valuable, so what sets the rare ones apart? The answer lies in their condition, errors, and unique varieties. One of the key factors that can make a 1980p dime valuable is its grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with those graded MS-67 or higher being highly sought after. Most dimes in circulation are worn from years of use, but if you come across one with sharp details, a strong strike, and no major scratches or marks, you could be looking at a high-grade specimen. The better the condition, the more valuable the dime becomes, and top-graded examples have sold for thousands at auction. Beyond condition, rare errors can make a 1980p dime extremely valuable. One of the most famous errors to look for is the double-die obverse variety. This occurs when the coin is struck twice slightly misaligned, causing a doubling effect on the lettering or Roosevelt's profile. If you see a doubling on words like Liberty or In God We Trust, you might be holding a rare and valuable piece. Another error that collectors go crazy for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is misaligned during the striking process, causing part of the design to be missing. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value. If a dime is missing 40% to 50% of its design but still shows a full date, it can command a significant premium in the market. Then, there's the rare transitional planchet error. Some 1980p dimes were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets instead of the usual copper-nickel composition. These rare mistakes are worth a fortune, and the easiest way to check is by weighing your dime. A standard dime weighs 2.27 grams, but if it weighs around 2.5 grams, you may have found something truly special. Now, let's talk about value. While an ordinary 1980p dime is only worth its face value, rare high-grade specimens and error varieties have sold for astonishing prices. Some have reached $1,800 at auctions, while the rarest examples with dramatic errors and flawless conditions have sold for $40,000 or even more. So, here's the big question. Have you ever come across a 1980p dime that looks different from the rest? Maybe a coin with a strange strike, a missing section, or an unusual doubling effect? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check your coin collection. You never know, you might be holding on to a hidden gem worth far more than you ever imagined. Number 5. Have you ever wondered if a simple dime in your pocket could be worth thousands of dollars? It's easy to overlook small coins, but today, we're uncovering the hidden value of the 1977 Roosevelt dime. While most dimes from this year are only worth face value, a few rare varieties and errors have turned ordinary pocket change into collector's gold. If you've ever come across a 1977 dime that looks slightly different, you might just be holding a coin worth a fortune. Stay with me as we break down exactly what makes these dimes valuable and how you can identify one. The 1977 Roosevelt dime was minted at 3 locations: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Most of these dimes were struck in large numbers and used in everyday transactions, making them common. However, certain factors like condition, rare errors, and unusual varieties can make some of these dimes incredibly valuable. Let's start with condition. Collectors are always looking for dimes in the highest grades. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS-67 or higher being the most desirable. If you find a 1977 dime that has sharp details, strong luster, and no major scratches, you might be looking at a coin worth far more than face value. Many dimes from this year have been worn down over time, but finding one in near-perfect condition is rare, and that rarity drives up the price significantly. But the real excitement comes when we talk about mint errors. One of the most famous errors on the 1977 dime is the missing mint mark variety. San Francisco mint-proof dimes were supposed to have an S mint mark, but a few were struck without it. If you come across a 1977 proof dime with no mint mark, you've found something incredibly rare. These error dimes are worth thousands of dollars, depending on their condition. Another valuable error to look for is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin is struck twice slightly out of alignment, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or Roosevelt's profile. If you notice doubling on words like liberty or in God we trust, your dime could be extremely valuable. Then, there are off-center strikes. These errors occur when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value, especially if the date remains visible. Some off-center dimes have sold for impressive amounts at auction, and let's not forget about transitional planchet errors. Some 1977 dimes may have been mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from earlier years. If you have a dime that looks a little different in color or weighs slightly more than 2.27 grams, it could be worth getting it checked by a professional. So, how much are these rare 1977 dimes actually worth? While an ordinary 1977 dime is just pocket change, the rarest error varieties and high-grade specimens have sold for incredible amounts. Some have reached $2,480 at auction, while the rarest examples with flawless condition and major errors have sold for $45,000 or even more. Now, here's the big question. Have you ever come across a 1977 dime that looked a little different? Maybe one with a missing mint mark, a doubling effect, or a strange off-center strike? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check your coin jars and old collections. You never know, you could be holding on to a hidden treasure without even realizing it. Number 6. Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if one of those small dimes could be worth thousands of dollars? Most people don't give much thought to dimes, but certain rare varieties and errors can turn an ordinary 1991 Roosevelt dime into a collector's dream. Some of these hidden gems have sold for unbelievable amounts, and today, we're going to explore exactly what makes them so valuable. If you have a 1991 dime in your collection, you might want to take a closer look, because you could be holding onto a small fortune without even realizing it. The 1991 Roosevelt dime was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and while millions of them were produced, only a handful hold significant value. Like most modern dimes, the majority of these coins were made for circulation, which means they have been passed around for decades, collecting wear and scratches. However, a few special coins stand out due to their condition, mint errors, or unique characteristics, making them highly sought after by collectors. One of the biggest factors that determine a dime's value is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS 67 or higher being considered top tier. Finding a 1991 dime in such high grade is extremely rare. Most of these dimes have small marks, scratches, or signs of wear, but if you come across one that has sharp details, full luster, and no visible damage, it could be worth far more than face value. In fact, high-grade examples have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Now, let's talk about rare errors, because this is where things get really exciting. One of the most famous errors found on the 1991 dime is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin is struck twice slightly out of alignment, causing a doubling effect on the lettering or Roosevelt's profile. If you notice doubling on words like liberty or in God we trust, you could have an extremely valuable coin in your hands. Another rare error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing. The more off-center the strike, the rarer the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. These error coins are highly sought after and can fetch impressive prices at auctions. Then, there's the transitional planchet error. Some 1991 P dimes were accidentally struck on older silver planchets instead of the usual copper-nickel composition. This mistake is incredibly rare, and if you find a dime that looks slightly different in color or weighs more than 2.27 grams, you might want to have it checked by a professional. Silver transitional errors can sell for extraordinary amounts. So, how much can a rare 1991 P dime be worth? While a normal 1991 P dime is worth only 10 cents, rare high-grade specimens and error varieties have sold for astonishing prices. Some have reached $2,800 at auction, while the rarest examples with major errors and pristine condition have sold for $37,000 or even more. Now, here's the big question. Have you ever come across a 1991 P dime that looks different from the rest? Maybe a coin with doubling, an off-center strike, or an unusual weight? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check your change and old coin collections. You never know, you could be holding on to a hidden treasure worth far more than you ever imagined.